Morning. Let's begin with Act One, Scene Four. So here, there's a flourish. Uh, then King Duncan enters with Lennox and Malcolm, his son, and Donald Bain and other attendants. Then he talks about Malcolm. He tells him that he died as one that had been studied in his death. So here they're talking about the ex Thane of Cawdor, whose title has been bestowed upon Macbeth now, between Macbeth and ex Thane of Cawdor, because when he died, like before dying, he was allowed to confess. So there was a custom to confess and beg for forgiveness. And at that time, he died as someone who has been studied in his death. So he was repenting. Now, you'll see that Macbeth, who has borrowed the clothes, if you look at the cloth imagery, then Macbeth, who has borrowed the robes of Thane of Cawdor, is going to repent in somewhat similar way. Then King says there's no art to find the man's construction in the face, but he was a gentleman on whom I built in absolute trust. Now, this is a dramatic irony because Duncan is going to uh, repeat repeat the history because he's going to lay absolute trust in Macbeth as well. Uh, the, he laid absolute trust. He built absolute trust on the ex Thane of Cawdor. Now he's going to do the same on Macbeth. He's going to trust him absolutely, and again he will be proved wrong. And this time it will be more serious because he'll lose his life. Then enter Macbeth, Banquo, Ross, and Angus. So now King says, "Oh, worthiest cousin." This is important because he calls him a cousin. You'll understand the significance later. Why Duncan, why is it important that Duncan calls Macbeth as his cousin? So he is related to Duncan. He is a kin of Duncan, not just a subject, but also related to him by his blood. And Duncan makes it public. He publicly acknowledges it, their relationship as cousins. Then, in line number 18 of Act 1, Scene 4, King Duncan says, "Would thou hadst less deserved, that the proportion both of thanks and payment might have been mine." So he says that I wish you deserved less because now I can't even pay you. I can't, you deserve so much that I can't repay your debt. And you'll notice that Duncan will repay his debt by his death because he will lose his life. Then Macbeth says, "Loyalty, the service and the loyalty I owe." But he's lying. He'll prove anything but loyal. He's going to kill Duncan. Then he says, "And our duties are to your throne and state, children and servants." Macbeth is well aware of his duties as a subject to the king. He says, "Our duties are to your throne and state, children and servants." He is well aware of the duties, yet he will. These are the duties that he will soon flout. Then leave a few lines. Here, King is addressing Banquo. He says, "Welcome hither. I have begun to plant thee and will labor to make thee full of growing. Noble Banquo, that has no less deserved, nor must be known no less to have done so." Macbeth has been given the title of Thane of Cawdor, and even the witches said that you're going to become the Thane of Clams. The king hereafter. But what does Banquo get? If we use the colloquial language, he get of India, he gets Babaji ka Thullu. He does not get anything, but maybe it was for his own good because Macbeth gets overambitious and he will. That becomes the cause of his fall, tragic fall. Then King says, like after declaring Macbeth as the Thane of Cawdor and welcoming and accepting, acknowledging Banquo's favor, King Duncan declares that his eldest son, that is Malcolm, um, whom we name hereafter the Prince of Cumberland, which honor must not unaccompanied invest him only. So here he declares it clearly that his successor will be Malcolm. Now Macbeth will get hurt because he was expecting something else. Because the witches have shown him some other way. According to the witches, Macbeth is going to become the king. But here, Duncan makes it clear that Malcolm would be the future king of Scotland. Now, the title Prince of Cumberland is given to when the successor was named while the king was alive. The title given to him was the Prince of Cumberland in Scotland. So now this deals with primogeniture, the central theme of the play, and now this will irk Macbeth. Then Duncan declares that he will go to Macbeth's castle, that is Inverness. Inverness is name of Macbeth's castle. Then Macbeth says, "The rest is labor which is not used for you. I'll be myself the harbinger that make joyful the hearing of my wife with your approach." He is excited to tell the wife about the prophecy of the witches. Now, this excitement, it has been kindled after Duncan declares that his son Malcolm is going to become the future king of Scotland. So, this is when Macbeth says that I want to meet my wife. I want to declare it to her that you would be visiting us, so that she makes all preparations. She prepares everything. But the actual cause is he's excited to tell her about the prophecy of the witches. Now, Macbeth, in an aside you already know when other characters are also present on the stage, but when one character goes aside to say something, now the audience can hear him, but other other characters cannot. So Macbeth says, "The Prince of Cumberland, that is a step on which I must fall down." Now this shatters hopes of Macbeth, or else overleap, for in my way it lies. So according to Macbeth, this title, Malcolm, has been given the title of Prince of Cumberland, and it is an obstruction. It falls on the path of Macbeth. Then he says, "Stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires." Please highlight this. Use colorful pens to underline this if you have the text. Otherwise, just note it down. "Stars, hide your fires." This is line number 50. "Stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires." So it is before he has had a word with Lady Macbeth that he already knows, he's confessing it in an aside, that he has dark and deep desires which he does not want light to see. So we can't solely blame Lady Macbeth for manipulating Macbeth or for inciting him. He says it way before he meets her. And also the repressed fears and repressed desires affects one's sleep. This will affect Macbeth's sleep because he says, "Deep desires, I want these deep desires to be hidden." Then at last, King Duncan again, before exiting, he says, "It was a peerless, it is a peerless kinsman." Now Duncan's use of the term cousin, kinsman, makes the act even graver because he was not just the king, but also related to Macbeth by blood. So the sin now the sin gets doubled. Now we'll start with Act 1, Scene 5. Now here, Lady Macbeth, as in Macbeth's wife, she enters with a letter. She enters alone with a letter. Now before meeting Lady Macbeth, Macbeth could not wait. So he sent her a letter. Now she says, she's reading it out for us. So she says, "They met me in the day of success. They here, as in the witches, and I have learned by the perfectest report then perfect. Uh, when do we add est? It is the superlative degree, and perfect is already a superlative, but here Macbeth writes perfect test. So I learned by the perfect test report that have more in them than mortal knowledge. So witches, he refers to witches in third person, which adds to the mystery around the supernatural element. And also Macbeth and his wife call imagined act of murder as it. Like, we are going to commit it. Let it be done. So it is always called it. And the three witches are also are always addressed as they, them, these, those. So here Macbeth says that they are perfectest in their knowledge, so they know more than mortal beings know. You can also link this with a biblical association of knowledge, the forbidden knowledge, which is associated with sin. And then you can read it for yourself. Go to line number 10 of this scene, where he says, "This have I thought good to deliver thee, my dearest partner of greatness." Now, partner of greatness, here, this is like they share an equal relationship, and they're actually partners in crime as well. Then, after having read the letter, Lady Macbeth says, "Glam is thou art, and cawdor, and shalt be what thou art promised. Yet do I fear thy nature, it is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way." These lines are important. The milk of human kindness, because women are associated with milk, and here it's a contradiction. It's contrary wise here. Here, Lady Macbeth is the one who's ambitious, and she's the dominating one. She says, "You are too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. So you will not do something to like, you won't kill Duncan to reach the position that has been prophesized for you." And you can see this in Act 1. Where is it? Let me look for it. Yeah. Act 1, Scene 3, where Macbeth says, "If chance will have me king, why chance may crown me without master." So he does not want to commit the act. He wants to become a king, but he is afraid of the consequences. He's afraid of the repercussions. So Lady Macbeth, she knows her husband well. So she says, "Yet I do fear thy nature." So she knows him, that I know thou wouldst be great, art not without ambition. She knows that he is ambitious, but she knows that he is weak, as in he's kind and he won't commit the act. So, just like the witches, also the words that she uses um, are same as those of the witches. When they meet Macbeth for the first time, this is what they say: "Glamis, thou art, all hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Glamis, all hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor, then thou shalt be king hereafter." So these are the same lines. So we can liken the uh, Lady Macbeth with the three witches. And again, there is another instance where we can draw a parallel between them. So, just like the three witches, she will play with his mind, and this likens her with the three witches. She says in line number 26 that, "I may pour my spirits in thine ear and chastise with the valor of my tongue." So, she's going to um, provoke him into murdering King Duncan. So Macbeth needs a push. She knows her husband well, and she knows that he won't commit the act by himself. He needs to be pushed into it. He needs to be encouraged, provoked. Then enter messenger. He says that King Duncan is going to arrive here. Then Lady Macbeth, line number 38, she says, "The raven himself is hers that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements." So here, raven is a bad omen, and we know in Shakespeare's age, omens were used. So raven is a bad omen because it feeds on dead bodies. See, here Lady Macbeth is not a typical submissive woman. She's ambitious, And she says, that tend on mortal thoughts unsex me here. Unsex me. Again, we can compare her with the three witches because witches have beards on their face, and Banquo says that thou must be women, but the beard that are there on your face prevent me to think so. And here she wants to be unsexed. She gives up on the typical submissive behavior of a woman. She's ambitious, she's strong and brave, and in fact, you could consider her queer. So she can be, and she's ambitious because she can become a queen only through Macbeth. So maybe she's someone who's seeking upward mobility through her husband. Then in line number 46, she says, 47, she says, "Come to my woman's breasts and take my milk for gall, you murdering ministers." So milk is associated with women. It's it's a female imagery. Even according to Sigmund Freud, it's a symbol for women. But if you read Julia Kristeva and other feminist writers, they say that again they associate milk with women, so the nurturing quality of milk. But here, Lady Macbeth is flouting the traditional uh, norms, or she's flouting the stereotypes where milk is associated with women. She's nothing, she's not mother like, she has no qualities of a mother. Then in line number 51, 52, she says that my keen knife see not the wound it makes. So before Macbeth meets Duncan, enter Macbeth. He says, "Great Glamis." Again, Lady Macbeth continues. She says, "Great Glamis were the Cawdor, greater than both." So before Macbeth meets Duncan, he meets the three witches who say somewhat similar lines to him. Now, before Duncan visits Inverness, again Macbeth is greeted with the same words, the same provocative words. Then Macbeth says, "My dearest love, Duncan comes here tonight, lady, and when goes hence? Tomorrow, as he purposes." Lady Macbeth, "Oh, never shall sun that tomorrow see." So she's straightforward. As soon as the husband enters, she's clear about her motives. She says, "Never shall that tomorrow, never shall the sun that morrow see." So that tomorrow will never come because he is not going to go alive from my Inverness. Then she says, "Your face, my Thane, is as a book where men may read strange matters." So you're like an open book. Everyone can read it from your face. Everything is visible. So she says, like, you must learn something. There are a few things, life hacks. The theme of deception is important here in this play. So in line number 65, she says, "Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it." So look innocent, but be a serpent underneath. The theme of equivocation, the theme of deception. Fair is foul, foul is fair. Everything is topsy-turvy. You can't really figure out who's fair, who's foul. So she tells him to look innocent, but at the same time, be a serpent underneath. So be wicked from inside, but look innocent. Then she says, "This knight's great business into my dispatch." So she will take care of matters. She has got this "I got it" attitude. So I got you covered. And she is a dominating wife. She says that I'll handle everything. And before exiting, again she says, "Leave all the rest to me. I'll take care of the matters. You've got my back." And she's even ready to kill Duncan. But later she tells that Macbeth to do the act because the face of King Duncan resembles that of a father. So, and also killing father, um, you can use Freudian theory, Freud's relevance to the act, and you'll see that she'll get mentally disturbed after King Duncan dies because he looks like her father. And if you've read Sylvia Plath's Daddy, you'll get this the desire to kill the father, ambivalence when you love and hate your father at the same time. I'll share the link to Sylvia Plath's Daddy, so please read it. In Act 1, Scene 6, I'll send you another note